See? And he gave it to Lois and Phil gave it to you and David. Bop! And you got to run that race. You got to keep that relay race going. Now, let me get off of one thing, and I'm finished. My deep admiration, I'm talking too fast, difficulty. My deep admiration for the Jews. One that I like. They keep their history on the channel to educate you and me. They know their history, but they're not going to let this happen again. They own the networks. They keep Oprah wherever and whenever they need to show the Holocaust. They put on any channel. So it's an education for non-Jews. And I said, well, not be clear. And what hurt me, though, when I have well-educated blacks say, so-called well-educated, I want to hear about that respect there. That's not history. And I can't lie about it. That's why I get upset when they say N-word. It's almost offensive to me as a real word. That tells me when they shut the door, they don't say N-word. You remember Bush, who's this guy running for president, and he got caught with the 47%. When they close the door, that's another conversation. As much as I like Condoleezza Rice, I bet she never sat in on the real conversations. And they tricked the brother, what's his name? Colin. They really tricked him. And they used his integrity to spew out lies. I'm through.
Well, that's true.
I'm finished. All I wanted to get over was the sidewalk dance.
Thank you, Uncle.
That's, and then if you ever get a chance, for your own enlightenment, interview some old people who still have their capacity together and get that, what do you call it,
Their insight.
when you get the
Testimony.
yeah. It's all right to read in the book, but if you're running along folks like that, get up with them and you can just ask them one question. Get it? That's better than the book, but that's the real deal. If they can tell you how it was, and my heart goes out, Dr. Wood, for them. They keep pounding on Chicago about the murder rate. But it's happening here. It's happening all over. But they pick on Obama's area because of Chicago, Detroit. A lot of those things are orchestrated. But those are things that black people can solve if we would. I don't know. But that's a whole nother thing. But the last thing I want to say to my nieces here and my nephew, learn how to do without. Learn how to do without. And learn how to get away from materialistic thinking. That's a trap. Materialistic thinking. Get away from it because that's nothing but a trap. You all are struggling. We all are. It's a struggle to run this relay race. It's a struggle. And I made a decision. My resources are going to go to my grandkids, not the General Motors. You know, I just think it is. I got no problem with two pet pants. I made it too. I got no problem with that. And thing that aggravated some of my professional buddies, Dr. Wood, I used to drive a crappy car to work. $50 suit, man. And I was arrogant. I was an arrogant fellow, you know. And I tried to be like Brian Gumlin and those guys. I was arrogant, man. I wasn't gonna scratch my head. You know, and all that stuff. I was an arrogant fellow. Story about my secretary. I overheard her to say one day, I think Mr. Williams hates white people. Miss, God, I had a good secretary, Miss Ringer. She observed, she's keen and astute. She observed my behavior, you know. I was, Dr. Wood, I made sure my road was right. And I tried to articulate the best I could. And if your vocabulary wasn't up to snuff, up to mine, shame on you. You got a degree, so I'm talking to my peers, and I'm not going to mellow down or anything. But that's all I want to say. Anybody got one question? Somebody asked me one question, and I'm through. I just want to get the sidewalk thing down. I don't want to get off
Thank you for that.
into a whole lot of stuff, you know. But that's some heavy stuff, that sidewalk thing. If I could give you, let me give you one more experience, kids. Weekend, 1953, Thanksgiving weekend, true story. I had my orders to go to Germany. We were leaving the USO Club, sleepy, tired, exhausted as you all were last night. We were tired. You know where the bus driver drives the bus? There's a seat behind the bus driver, parallel to that seat. And all the other seats were full, and guys standing in the aisle, sleeping, tired. We were at the USO Club, dancing with the girls from Allen University before. Going back to camp. One guy from Virginia, I didn't want to say, but I want to say this one. White girl was sitting behind the bus driver on that parallel seat. And there was a space in between. And a black guy sat on the same seat, but not next to her. It was a space. The bus driver politely pulled aside. We thought it was just a starving. We were sleeping, tired. Next thing we knew, 3 policemen got on that bus with 2x4s, looking for the guy who sat in that seat. And he was wearing a peppered overcoat. And we passed the overcoat back to a tall, dark complected fella. Story short, just for one more second. The bus driver drove the bus to the jail in Columbia, South Carolina. 54 black guys, 1 white soldier, and we had a black lieutenant. He went to jail right with us. And the first time I found out what contempt of court was. The next morning they had that girl there to identify. And the judge was talking to 14 of us at a time. And I said the S word under my breath. Yeah, because I said the S word. I said, I'm not going to say it in front of you kids. And the guy said, the bailiff, did you hear that? Contempt of court. And in 1953, my daddy had to shuttle $300 up there. I was a Mason, and I talked with a white guy that was a Mason, and I challenged him, and he allowed me to call. But anyway, my daddy scraped the 300, sent it to me. That's when I found out what contempt of court was and what it meant. But that was 54 black GIs. The bus driver drove us to the jail. Now, what Obama said the other day, when he was making comments about Trayvon, he said, if you talk, this is not new, you talk to black men throughout America, this ain't new. Those experiences are all throughout, not everybody, but it's common. Through with that, the last thing I want to say, children, is this about Obama. You all are blessed to see something that Phil didn't see. that his mom and dad didn't see, Obama. And I say, God Almighty, I had to go to Scripture. Now, my wife is a good Bible scholar. I'm not. But I research literally. I go to the Bible and read things. I say, how did Obama do this? And I wasn't ready to cheer so much. I say, this is the hand of God. I said, this is God's work. Now, I was aware that God spoke to Moses, Abraham, and other prophets. I was aware of that. Moses couldn't talk well. He took care of that with the Pharaohs. And I stumbled upon Dr. Wood. I read this. I had to find a spiritual reason for me to see Obama there. And I found it in Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 1. God told Jeremiah, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, he said, I knew you before you entered your mother's womb. Jeremiah was befuddled. I'm just a kid. God said, I mean, we're different. You're my prophet. Now, why am I so convinced? For me, Jeremiah, when God said, I knew you before you entered your mother's womb. That's how I see Obama. Now look what God did. African slaves, 1619, all the atrocities. You know the story. And then he put a man with African blood in that White House right now. I said, this is amazing. I said, how could this be? And God had it just right. Obama has a white mother. I could say European stuff. I said, but he has a white mother and an African daddy. And he put Obama right in the middle of a racist country, or race-conscious country. And this Kentucky senator said, before Obama could finish taking the oath, stop him. Stop him. They're breathing hard. Stop him. You notice how they say no? If Obama said the sky is blue, no. If it's red, green, they're not going to agree with it. But I just want to get that part. What convinced me that was the hand of God's work. Now, if you go back, let me say this real quickly. Look at the economic condition of the world. When Obama got in, it looked like everybody said, oh Lord, slavery. You're down to slavery. And God put the circumstances just right. Where you got to look to this poor young man that I sent. Okay, second time around. Hurricane Sandy, you remember? God sent it right on up there 3 days before the voting. Just tore up the East Coast. And who's the governor of Jersey? Can't think of his name. Christie. But he hugged Obama. You're a good man. They hated that. And Obama tried to do right. And Christie acknowledged that. And they hated that Christie gave him positive strokes. Don't have my adjective today, but anyway. Really, that's all I wanted to say. The Obama story, I can see the handiwork of God from my point. And I go back, that's what I say the umbilical cord. If God is omnipotent, he's all-knowing, if you believe that, he knew what he was doing when he sent the slaves out of Africa. He knew what he was doing, so I got a plan for you. It's going to be some suffering, because he suffered too, and we've suffered, but he put an exclamation point. I'm going to put my man in that White House, and you see what's happening in the country. God knew all of this. Now, I'm not a preacher, I'm not a Bible thumper, but I believe in the Holy Scriptures. You know, I do believe in that. That's about all I wanted to say. I covered sidewalk. I covered Obama. And that's, I just want to give my nieces something to take away, and I call it sidewalk dance. And it just boils down to, how did I learn how to step aside? How did black folk learn not to look at white folk and I don't know. I don't know, it's a book. I don't know who taught that, but it came on down